What is up, guys, and welcome to ASL Week 8 Power Rankings. Take 3, Milan is back this week, which is great to see.
Yes, I'm back. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it last week. I was away with a school trip. Luckily, Hutch was able to fill in for me and provided you with nice content that you all like, being the power rankings. And speaking of the power rankings, let's rank right in. At number 14, we have the Philadelphia Flygons. Ferret came in this week with his first win, and he played off versus his training card center. No, training card center. What am I saying? His training center rival, Brett. And I'm speaking of Nubby Brett because everyone in the server is currently called Brett, but just to clarify it, Nubby Brett. They faced off in a pretty heat match. It went back and forth in the beginning of the game, but later on in the game, Mega Gardevoir set up Calm Minds, and yeah, it basically went to town from that point. Ferret was not able to combat the Mega Gardevoir because he only brought, or primarily brought, special attackers. I believe only Celesteela was a partly physical attacker with Heavy Slam. Not really sure though, but yeah. In the end, he wasn't able to stop it, and Mega Gardevoir clean sweeped him. Really unfortunate to see, but still good performance from Ferret early game, and I think he has this win. He knows how it feels to win, so I'm sure he can take some upset wins in the last couple of weeks. Everyone might overlook him or underestimate him, and I definitely think Ferret shouldn't be underestimated. But that's me. What's your take on it, Ian?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Ferret's shown that he has the potential to get the wins. It's just that he isn't always capable of doing it, be it the team or his playstyle being not matching or whatever it is. I felt like he was definitely in it with a shot to win. Unfortunately, of course, Mega Gardevoir matched up really well against him. He didn't have a lot of good ways to break it on his entire draft, really. And once Celesteela was taking that chip, it was pretty much over. I felt like he definitely should have avoided letting it set up to the extent that it did, though. He kind of just dicked around with the Torkoal for a bit there. So maybe need to work on your risk assessment type of stuff, but um, definitely showing signs of improvement throughout the season, showing that he is able to put up a fight just in all of his games so far. So we'll just have to see if he is able to move his way up. But for now, number 13, we actually have Brad, the commissioner, returning from his season-long hiatus. And let's just say his comeback was not the kind of explosive nature we were really hoping for. He did get 6-0'd, which is definitely not the type of thing that you want to have happen when you're first getting back. So hopefully he'll be able to get some nice wins, position himself for a good run. But realistically, the record that he took over probably isn't going to be making playoffs. He took over the Masters team, which is currently 2-6. So I think he's just going to try to have some fun and position himself for next season. But either way, I'm excited to see what he can do in some of the other matchups he has.
Yeah, for sure. At number 13, I have the Houston Hoopas with AZ. And yeah, it's pretty sad to say, but in my eyes, it looked like AZ gave up on the ASL season. Uh, he's on a 5-game losing streak as of right now, which is really unfortunate to see. He's definitely living up to the expectations we had from him prior to this season. Last season, he was almost a playoff contending team. This season, he isn't doing too hot, even though his team is pretty lit, in my opinion. Yeah, this week he came in fighting Malone. Malone wasn't doing too well early season as well, but he stepped up his game. AZ unfortunately didn't do it. In this matchup, Tyrantrum was almost his only way of breaking Mega Slowbro. He did miss the Choi Bandit head smashes, which was really unfortunate. But in the end, you shouldn't rely on just Tyrantrum, I think, to break Mega Slowbro. Ferrothorn didn't even have grass coverage for it. I think it was only spamming lead sheet versus it. They also didn't really scout for any fire coverage on potential Slowbro as well. So, like, overall, not the best of performance on AZ side, and it's really sad to see. But I hope all he needs is a win to to break his losing streak and start getting up some momentum for himself. But right now he's in a dark place. Let's leave it at that. Number 12, you already covered it a little bit, but Brad, the commissioner, returned. He took over the Masters team, really lit team, made some transactions, and he went in playing versus EN. Hype game. Commissioner is back, and he got sick out. Oh, well. Oh, pretty unfortunate, but yeah. If I believe Brad was speaking the truth, which I obviously believe, it was a prep mistake. He was a bit rusty. I mean, he is an old man after all, so I can't blame him for that. The rusty old man. But he overlooked the Aura Spear event move on Raikou, damaging and picking off the Kyurem, which was essential for his winning plan, and losing that win condition for him. Really, yeah, it just lost so much momentum, and it was such an important role. This Pokemon was such an important role factoring his win potential this week. And yeah, it basically ended up in EN taking control and dominating the match. Pretty unfortunate to see, but yeah, Brad is in a similar position than I was last season, taking over his team. Funnily enough, so I'm hoping to see great things from Brad. Maybe he's gonna win constellation finals. Who knows? Who knows? And you have at number 12 the Houston Hoopas. Please tell us why.
Yeah, he's had a rough go of it so far, and this week was no difference. It was a tough loss to have to take. Obviously, Mega Slowbro really handled his team, like just manhandled it completely and utterly. He definitely should have brought a little bit more prep to deal with it, but hacks is also a major part of the game that screwed him over there, with the Tyrantrum unable to break through the Slowbro due to missing all of its moves. Probably should have seen the Jolteon come out, but at this point, it's pretty clear that he isn't putting in the time that he needs to get the wins that he needs to succeed, which, is understandable, I guess, with busy schedule, yada, yada, yada. But obviously, that doesn't justify putting you any higher than number 12. Hopefully, we can see the old AZ come back and get some nice wins. But for now, unfortunately, you and Brad are the only 2-6 teams. So here you will have to stay. But at number 11, we both have Brett Nubby, who was able to get quite a nice Mega Gardevoir sweep the first week after picking it up, which was really cool to see. Mega Gardevoir is a fan favorite for sure, especially those who saw Ian's performance with it Season 1. And it just showed why it's such a solid Pokemon overall, getting a really nice sweep in, really solid prep to bring the sub CM to avoid any status moves, recognizing that Ferret has a bulkier team that might struggle to break through that sub. So yeah, really solid prep overall, really good positioning to get it in at the right time. So definitely showing his potential there. He is currently 3-5. So we'll just have to see if he can make that playoff run. Especially with how close the season is right now, especially at the bottom line, there's a very good chance that he still can make playoffs if he really puts his head down. So we'll just have to see how his run goes.
Yeah, exactly. His season is really close in making playoffs, so that was really cool to see. Brad made a lot of transactions, and yeah, let's just say he made the right call. Mega Gardevoir just went in. Mega Gardevoir, and indeed, absolutely a fan favorite. A very personal favorite of mine as well. Really happy to see it put in the work. Great set. I was a bit scared. Not gonna lie, because he kept subbing, and I was like, what if he gets crit through the sub? Because Ferret was with a lot of sound-based move attacking Pokemon, like Sylveon, like Exploud, but and Heliolisk, I believe. But yeah, overall it went really well. It swept, and it was really nice to see. I'm really happy for Brad that he took this win. Great job, and hopefully next week he picks up another victory. But you'll just have to see. And number 10, we have a difference. One faced off this week. It was very cool to see. Yelmer did came on top with a very, very close win. And it was such an exciting match to see. Went back and forth almost for the entirety of the game. But in the end, it was the Silvali, which was rested back up again, versus the Yuxi had to choose a move to lock himself into, and he wasn't able to lock himself into a move that could kill both Mega Beedrill and the Silvali Steel. So yeah, in the end, great preservance of the Silvali, great end game on Yalmer's part, and definitely he gets his momentum back and starts getting more wins. He still has a shot of making playoffs, even though his differential and record isn't great. It's still possible, and we all know ASL is full of surprises. And you have the Sloberians at number 10. Please explain to us why.
Yeah, TJ is just really on a slide right now, and it's really disappointing to see. I feel like all of the 3-5 teams are pretty closely matched right now, um, and they probably all have a fairly equal chance of making playoffs. But I just feel like we haven't really seen the level of potential that we saw last season coming from him. He clearly doesn't have the same amount of time that he did last season, which is a shame to see. His prep isn't all there. This game was really good though, and it definitely did inspire a lot more hope in me. But in the end, he wasn't able to pick up the win. And it's that decline compared to the other coaches that really did make me decide to place him down at the number 10 spot. But at number 9, you actually have him there, so you can say why you've got him a little bit higher.
Yeah, well, basically, I have him a little bit higher because even though he lost versus Jalmer, he still is in a bit better position for the race to the playoffs. So I have to give him that. It was a very close game. Both could have won, in my opinion. It was going back and forth for the entirety of the game. So I'm not saying like, "Whoa, Jalmer is so much better than TJ," or "TJ is so much better than Jalmer." It was just they were at each other's level, so to say, and the game was really. It was probably my favorite game this week, to be honest. So definitely give them that. And TJ, yeah, he is not doing the hottest right now. He was doing well early season. He is a bit slacking in a way, but this performance definitely shows that he still has it. He is still our champion, so we don't need to mess around with TJ and expect great things from him. Just give him the benefit of the doubt. At number 9, you have the Utah Hoots with Susie. Please tell us why.
Yeah, Susie just got absolutely manhandled this week by Milan. It was not a good look for him at all. Really, at no point in the game did it look like Susie had a shot, except for maybe the first few turns, obviously. But pretty much the entire game, it was looking like it was heading towards a 6-0. Obviously, Milan is not quite good enough to secure that level of play. So he did unfortunately end up dropping some differential there. But still not a good game from him at all. Got predicted pretty consistently throughout. So definitely a disappointing performance from him. So we'll have to see whether he can pick it up in the next coming weeks. But he does have a somewhat easier, not necessarily easier, but plausible schedule in the next 3 weeks. But I do think he is going to struggle, probably a bit more than TJ, but his performance so far has felt just a little bit stronger than TJ, so I am going to give him a slight edge. But yeah, very close there. But you actually have Susie at number 8, placing him at the top of the 3 and 5 teams.
Yeah, he played versus me this week. It wasn't really a great performance on his part at all. I have to agree with that. But also, it just had to be noticed that Susie was putting in a 5-minute prep team. So for a 5-minute prep team, I think it's only fair to get manhandled like that. But yeah, I think Susie still is like, even though his team is pretty offensive and he has great offensive threats, it's still Susie, you know. Susie is like that guy you can't predict like ever. You don't know what he's gonna do. That goofy old big snooze, and he definitely has potential. Like he is always really really short. He just misses out on players like almost every season, and I think for some reason this season he's gonna make it. I have my vote on Susie. I don't know why, but I just have the feeling Susie is gonna take the last spot of the playoffs. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. And you have at number 8 Wanter's Weevil.
Yeah, I do. Vish has definitely been turning it up in the most recent weeks. I had the worst start out of all of the coaches, but that just means that he's had the best, most recent results out of all of the 3 and 5 teams. It's still not great, but it seems like a lot of the coaches haven't been having the best season, and Vish is looking to capitalize on that. Had a really solid game versus TJ. It was looking like he was gonna take it away quite confidently, but even when TJ was able to claw it back, he didn't crack under pressure, and he was able to do exactly what he needed to secure the game. So definitely really respect that. Obviously, he's still in a kind of weak spot for playoffs. 3 and 5 team isn't the best to have because generally speaking, 7-6 is like the minimum kind of range that you need to get for playoffs. There's definitely potential for a 6 and 7 team to make it this time though, so he does have a decent shot. We'll just have to see. But at number 7, we both have Shadow, one of the favorites to actually make playoffs for the first time, which is really surprising. Did get bit screwed over by Hutch here, but not in a way that is particularly disheartening. I'm sure 4-4 is still a very solid record. Good shot at going through the playoffs. Him and Malone are definitely the two that are gunning for that 6th spot the hardest right now, and I do believe they still have to play, so that game will have a lot riding on it. But as it stands, he is pretty far back in differential over Malone, so that very well could cost him. We'll just have to see. But yeah, you can go ahead and explain yourself now.
Yeah, Shadow is right now out of playoff contentions just by a little bit. Even though he's doing great this season, don't get me wrong, Shadow is doing absolutely the most with the team we expected from the least, basically. So great job on Shadow for that. But this game, like, I don't know what he was doing, but Shadow didn't seem to have any momentum at all this game. The only time he got momentum was basically with U-turning with the Scarf Celebi. But yeah, we all know Scarf Celebi U-turn doesn't do any damage. And then he went into something that basically gave away his momentum. He went into like Nido King on a Rotom Heat. Like Nido King isn't able to do much to a Rotom Heat. But yeah, uh, overall, didn't really like Shadow's performance this week. I did like the Sucker Punch deck though, but yeah, it was a crit and it didn't even kill. So like, it was definitely a very specially offensive oriented Nidoking still. If he brought a physical Nidoking, potentially he would have done more work. Could also have done more to a Rotom with something like Head Smash, but yeah, I don't know. This week he was really focused on the screens and potentially breaking through, but it failed. It failed, and yeah, that can happen. It can happen, but yeah, he needs to step it up next week in order to get the playoff spot back from me. Now let's move on to the playoffs teams. We both have a pretty similar lineup in the beginning. We both have Malone, St. Louis Swablues. Uh, like Malone definitely deserves this spot right now because of his ranking and his performance. He's doing really well with Thunderous Tyrion. Definitely performing beyond beyond the beliefs. I think that's the right. But never mind. My English is not that good always. But yeah, but Mega Slowbro, like, come on, like Malone, this boy got flamethrower and fire blast, and you running in a power fire. Like that's just dumb. I know you said it to me like right after the game. I saw it got fire coverage, but yeah, that are the signs for me that like, are you really deserving of this spot right now? I'm gonna give it a yes for now because Thunderous is literally putting the entire team on his back. But yeah, overall, I still think you do have some questionable things. You need to check your team twice before you actually play a game. That's my advice for you. But right now, you're definitely doing solid. You are in a playoff spot right now, so I guess I guess you're doing something right, right? So good job on you. You can explain to us, Ian, why you have Malone at number 6 as well.
It's basically the differential lead that he has over Shadow. I think they both have had really similar seasons. Malone has had a weaker start, but a much stronger finish, I guess, so far. But yeah, they're both very similar spots, but he does have a pretty significant differential lead and is also getting those really nice sweeps to the Thunderous. Not sure how he's managing to do it so often, if I'm being honest. Surely someone is going to bring something that'll actually outspeed it and then kill it off. Surely, like, it shouldn't be sweeping this many times without even running agility or anything like that. But somehow he's managing to do it. He's managing to get it into the position to do so. And yeah, I concur with the hidden power fire things. Like, I don't know how he didn't know that Slowbro didn't get fire coverage. Like, surely when he's prepping, scrolling through the moves to get to hidden power fire, he would see, oh, there's flamethrower. Let's put that on. But I don't think that's a real nitpick to like worth dropping him any spots. So he's going to be at number 6. But at number 5, we both have Hutch. You can go ahead and explain why.
Yeah, well, overall, Hutch is doing pretty well this season. He fought a lot of good coaches already. He still managed to have a good record. This week he dominated the game versus Shadow. I don't think Shadow has had any shot at all during the entirety of the game. Hutch was playing a little bit risky with some Pokemon at low HP, but overall his prep was really solid. Scarf Farisian to take on the Mega Sharpedo. Overall, I think the Latios set was pretty cool with the Wish. And yeah, in the end, as always, Megalopony cleaning it up like it has been for him for the entirety of the season. Megalopony and Latias basically get all the kills, and this week was no different. And really good job on Hutch.
Yeah, he played really
You
well
can go
to played really well to keep up the momentum all game against a really offensive team. Did a really solid job of ensuring that he wouldn't lose anything too important. And even when he got hit by the tech sucker punch, he was able to bring it back, make sure that he didn't lose anything, made sure to keep the sack fodder when he needed it, and did a really good job of preserving differential, which could be really helpful in clinching higher seeds. Overall, I think the top 5 teams are feeling pretty safe in their playoff spots at the moment. So could argue that maybe the risky play was risking a loss and wasn't worth the differential, but you know, still played it well. But anyway, number 4, I have Milan. As you can see, Milan does not have himself in this page, which means he's feeling very cocky after his little bit of a run going.
You're making me sound cocky right now. That's just
Yeah, I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't be doing any of that. But yeah, Milan's been doing really well in the past 4 weeks, picking up some nice wins. But I feel like so far he has had the easier end of the schedule out of the top 4 teams. Him and TCP are going to be fighting the harder end of their schedule in week 8 throughout. But yeah, he's definitely been doing a good job. Very much has that shot at getting a bye. It's going to be interesting to see how he does against myself and Dave. We already know how he did against TCP, and the fact that he probably could have won that game, I guess, is probably a decent enough reason to move him up. But I feel like the coaches above him are just doing a little bit better overall. But I guess Milan disagrees.
yeah, I do, but that is not important right now. I have the Chicago Conkelders with Big Daddy Dave at number 4. Big Daddy Dave, he lost versus TCP, the current undefeated team. And yeah, well, even though Dave played pretty well, it was a pretty exciting match, of course, because 2 top contenders are fighting off versus each other. But yeah, TCP was just edging out. And yeah, TCP really looking like he is not able to lose this season at all. He really looking like a threat right now. And Dave caught another loss. He has 2 losses now, same as me. So pretty exciting match next week between the two of us, but we'll just have to wait and see how that ends. At number 3, I have the Aussie Kangaskhanks with EN, and I call hypocrisy because you're calling me out for having an easier schedule because I haven't played Chicago Conquistadors and you, but I can say the same to you because you haven't played TCP and you haven't played me, so like right back at you, boy. But yeah, in the end,
Relax.
I decided to put myself a bit higher over you because I'm the more handsome and successful coach, like we all know. Basically,
That digs, man. That hurts me
away
personally.
from you.
You're
But
taking
yeah,
it you're taking it away from
no,
Pokemon and taking it to a real personal level now.
yeah, of course, I'm the more talented and handsome, taller person, mind you. So yeah, I'm
This is just
definitely
getting
having
really
the
personal.
answer.
Let's keep the
No,
shit talk related to Pokemon, please. This is hurting my
no,
actual feelings about
no. But
real
EN
insecurities.
has he did have a great win this week. He dominated the match versus Brett. Brett took over a team that isn't his, so it wasn't that that impressive to me because taking over a team really is not the same than having your own team. And he lost the week before that as well, so his momentum is probably next to zero. So like I
Yeah, okay.
definitely I'm justifying myself at you having the third spot, and you have Dave at the third
Yeah,
spot.
well,
Please tell us why.
I guess that yeah, when I get crit and miss hurricanes, and when I 6-0 the best draft in the league from all of the power rankings that everyone had, I guess yeah, you're right. I have zero momentum going forward.
But it was a
Um,
different team. It was a different team.
but yes, Chicago. Yes, of course, Brad's signature Zapdos and Reuniclus is a bad team that Brad would not be comfortable with at all. Regardless,
I'm definitely
let's
not saying it's a bad team. I'm just saying taking
let's
over a team is not the same as having a draft. You have your own.
relax. Brad's very comfortable with this team. He's got Reuniclus and Zapdos on it. Those are his staples. You are
Okay.
out of pocket right now. Chicago
Nah, man.
Conkelders, they're doing pretty well. They've got two losses because they lost to the two best teams in the league. That's not really a big deal to me, losing to first and second seed. Um, but I'm sure that he will be able to keep that third seed because Dave is a very talented coach. He is, of course, the father of us all. So I have full confidence in Dave going forward. More confidence in Dave than I have in Milan, that's for sure. Um, so the main reason why I have it set up as Dave above Milan is because I don't want to have to move them next week, and I know that Dave is going to be above Milan next week. So that's kind of the
Ooh,
main reasoning,
calling you out.
main decision
Okay.
making that I was going for there. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll move on to number 2. I am, of course, a little bit more willing to move these ones around, should it come to it. Um, but yeah, you can go ahead and justify why you've got yourself at number 2 first.
Well, first of all, because I'm definitely the more handsome, good-looking, and talented coach out of the two of us. So let's be honest. And yeah, I also am the Jersey Justice, so it's only justice to put myself at the second spot as right now. And I think I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
okay.
it.
That's
Yep, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
that's not very good
Definitely having a nice
justification.
momentum. A lot bigger win streak than you have as of right now. So definitely not taking away my losing streak. And I'm win next week, and then I beat you that week after, and then you're gonna be sad, and you're gonna definitely put my at the second spot as well. So I'm definitely
I
looking
doubt
forward to
it.
that. Definitely looking forward to that, and we'll see.
I doubt it. But
You doubt
regardless,
it? I know it. Future sight.
regardless, I have myself number 2. Main reason why is because I've had the most dominative wins out of all of the coaches, as seen by my plus 26 differential, which is tied highest in the league right now. TCP also has 26 differential, but he is also undefeated, so he does get that little bit of a nudge above. Um, and yes, I have not fought TCP or Milan yet, but I still have fought. more of the strongest coaches than Milan has, because Milan is not really at that level. I feel personally. So I'm gonna say that I'm a little bit more deserving of the number 2 spot because I've had the stronger overall season. But yeah, we'll just move on to number 1, where we both have TCP, who was able to get the win over Dave. Coming into next week, he's going to have a lot of momentum. And if he is able to win next week, which I don't think is like super likely, definitely not free by any means, he's going to be in a very good position to have the first undefeated season. Like I said, that's all very speculative at this point. It's not the most likely, but you never know. It's very possible that it does happen. He's in a very good spot for it. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. Very exciting to see the coming weeks to see how he goes.
Yeah, TCP still undefeated, probably unbeatable at as of this right. So yeah, we're gonna look at a very hype matchup next week between TCP and EN. I also play Dave, as also a pretty lit matchup, and there are also a lot of more light matchups. So next week power ranking definitely gonna be an interesting one. I think we covered everything. Do you have anything to add, EN?
Nope, just make sure to subscribe. Next week, gonna be a heat one. Make sure to view all the content for that one. We may not be on speaking terms after next week, and we definitely won't be on speaking terms after week 10. So I imagine Hutch will be recording with one of us after that week. So yeah, just keep that in mind going forward. So definitely drop
Whoa.
that sub, follow our Twitter, join the Discord server if you're not already in it, and see you guys next time.
Yeah, for sure. Take care, guys. See you guys next time.